You want answers? I think I'm entitled. You want answers? I want the truth! You can't handle the truth!
You may not be able to handle the truth, but these guys can. Welcome to the Long for Truth Show.
Heretic hunters. Hey, what do you think of these guys?
I think they're damned and on their way to hell, and I don't think there's any redemption for them. You stink, frankly. That's the way I think about it.
Hello and welcome to the Long for Truth Show. My name is Dan Long, and on this episode of Long for Truth, we are going to be reviewing a book by Pastor Bryan Wolfmueller called Has American Christianity Failed? Stick around. Hello and welcome to the Long for Truth Show. Thank you for joining me. I'm your host, Dan Long. And yes, it has been a while since I have recorded an episode for this show. But I'd like to begin doing that again. It has just been a crazy year. It's been a weird year. If you go on our Spreaker page and you've listened to us before, you see that there's only about 4 or 5 episodes up there right now, which will include this one. But we are going to be paying for more space so that we can get more episodes up in the very near future. So be looking for those new episodes. As I said, it's been a really crazy year. My work schedule has changed. I have a new position now at work, and so that has kept me from recording somewhat. And I have changed positions theologically. Where I was formerly Reformed, I am now a Lutheran. And I intend on talking about that on some future episodes. But as for now, we're going to be talking about a book on this episode. As I said in the introduction, we're going to be looking at Bryan Wolfmueller's book, Has American Christianity Failed? Now, I said we're going to be reviewing the book, but we're not going to be looking at the entire book. We're not going to look at each chapter. I've picked out some key points from the book that I want to highlight on this episode, and hopefully be able to convince you that the answer to the question in the title, Has American Christianity Failed?, is a giant yes. I've got some recordings that I want to play in this episode. I have a church clip that I want to play. And actually, it's an advertisement for a church. And I don't know anything about the church. I just went on YouTube, and I looked for some church ads that would kind of go along with the theme of the show today, and found a church called The Cause. And maybe some of you know about The Cause. I've never heard of The Cause, but it's called The Cause Community Church. But it just the advertisement just really kind of describes just what a typical American evangelical Christian church is like. What you find there. The kind of things that your typical American Christian is looking for. And so we're going to be playing that ad here. That'll be the very first thing we do. And then I've got about an 8-minute sermon clip. Now, this is all after we look at the book, by the way. We're going to be looking at some of the things in the book and discussing them. But, and then I've got it's about, an 8-minute clip or so of Troy Gramling from Potential, that's what it is, Potential Church. And he's going to be talking about the pit of discouragement. And I wanted to play that clip just to kind of show you, again, what you walk into your typical megachurch or your typical seeker-friendly, seeker-sensitive church, even a word faith church. This is the kind of stuff you're going to get. you're going to get stuff just like this. And so I'm going to play an 8-minute clip of that, and then I'm going to compare that. We're going to do a comparison. I'm going to play right after that a sermon by my own pastor, Pastor David Grunwald of St. Paul's Lutheran Church in Albany, New York. And it's a sermon that he preached in June. And I'm going to be just doing that to compare what you're going to hear in a church that properly distinguishes between law and gospel. A good sermon kind of versus a bad sermon thing. And then you can tell me what you think about that. Anyway, let's go ahead and hop over to the book. And let me just say right at the beginning here, before we even jump into some of the things I wanted to highlight from the book, some people, when they see the title, Has American Christianity Failed?, might shy away from wanting to read the book because they might think, well, this guy's going to be, pointing his finger at me. He's going to be judging me. And I can assure you, right from the get-go here, that does not take place. Bryan Wolfmueller is not about judging you. What he's doing is he lays out the characteristics of the typical American church, and then he gives the solution in the rest of the book. And he can do this because he himself has experienced the typical American Christian church. He grew up in it. He's now a Lutheran pastor and author. But he does all of this from a very compassionate tone. As you're reading the book, you do not get, I didn't anyway, I didn't get the sense that I was being judged, or that I was being, that the finger was being pointed at me. I didn't get that sense at all. As a matter of fact, I enjoyed the book so much it was very difficult for me to put the book down. It was tough to do. But it is an excellent book. Don't let the title fool you. Get the book. You can get it on Amazon. You can get it on Concordia. But get the book. I read the book. I don't have a physical copy. I bought the book on Kindle and read it. I've got it on my Kindle app. Because I kind of like instant gratification anyway. So yeah, hey, and that's what you get with a Kindle, man. You want a book and they put it on Kindle, boom, you click the buy now and goes right to your app. Instant gratification. That's what I'm all about. But anyway, just kidding. But anyway, it's an excellent book. Don't let the title fool you. Let's go ahead and jump into the book itself. I got to go over to another app here, and yes, this is still recording. Excellent. So let me just see where I am at here. I want to read a quote from the book that I think personally sums up what the book is all about, and this is what it says. And again, I can't give you page number. I know it's in the introduction here. It's in the introduction, okay, because the introduction is called Nose Blind. Can't give you a page number, unfortunately, because, of course, Kindle doesn't, have page numbers. However, I have seen, with an updated version, one or two of the books, I think, that I bought tries to put page numbers in. And it just doesn't do a very good job. And this book, I don't think, has any way of letting you know what page you're on, but I do know it's in the introduction, and the introduction is called Nose Blind, and this is the quote I wanted to read. It says, American Christianity teaches the centrality of the individual, my will, my experiences, my decision, my heart, my work, my dedication, to the detriment of Christ and his saving and comforting work. American Christianity most often preaches the Christian instead of the Christ. And our senses are so dulled that we don't even know he's missing. What is going on a typical Sunday morning in an American church? What's happening on a typical Sunday morning in a typical American church is that Christ is not being preached. You are being preached. The sermon is about you. Either you are inserted into the text and the sermon becomes about you that way, or the sermon is all about what you can do for Jesus. And how Jesus needs your commitment. It preaches you and your work rather than Christ and his work. It makes the Bible all about you rather than what the Bible is really all about. It's all about Jesus. Which, by the way, and I won't go into great detail here, but that is one of the reasons why, a big reason, why I left the typical American church and became a Lutheran. I grew up in a Christian home. My parents were godly parents. They took me to church. I grew up as a Baptist. Later on in life, I ended up Reformed and going to a Presbyterian church. And it was, I don't know, probably the last year and a half I was there, the church quickly became more and more seeker-sensitive. The sermons became more Rick Warren-ish. And I couldn't justify continuing to stay there, especially as I was listening to Lutheran podcasts and reading Lutheran books and listening to Lutheran sermons, and then, seeing in those podcast books and sermons that it was all about the gospel. It was so refreshing. And so, as I said, over the course of about 2 years, I embraced Lutheranism. I am now a member of a Lutheran church in Albany, New York. And again, I'll be playing a sermon here shortly from my pastor. But again, what takes place on a typical Sunday morning, as Bryan Wolfmueller so eloquently says in his book, is that the sermons are about you rather than about what they are supposed to be about: Christ and his saving work. So what are the characteristics of American Christianity? Well, Wolfmueller gives 4. And he's spot on. These are the 4: revivalism, pietism, mysticism, and enthusiasm. Revivalism teaches that the Christian life begins with a personal decision to accept Christ. Pietism teaches that the Christian life is chiefly marked out by a growth in good works. Mysticism teaches that we can have direct, unmediated access to God. And enthusiasm teaches that the spiritual life happens inside of us rather than outside. Now, what I would like to do, and what I plan on doing, is a series of podcasts based on each of these 4